Zlurpcast!
This is that time. It's Saturday or Sunday, and you know what that means. Or it's also Monday or Friday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. It's that day that ends in a Y. That's the day. And it's Zlurpcast. You know us. Like last week, you saw an episode. I believe you listened to an episode from the archives. That was before Valdric and before Biran. They existed, but in a different universe. Now they're here. Some say the third version of Zlurpcast is the worst ever. Some say that. A lot of people have been asking, and so some say that. And that's fine, but this is all we have right now. And I think that if something is shit, 4 times the shit is better than 2 times the shit. You know, I'm no mathlete, but that's just what I believe. So today, we've got Biran. If I need to describe him, you know who he is. I don't want to get into descriptions, but we have Xtreme and the Cubs have him, like in the flannel, of course. What did that say, Biran? It says
Maca Americana Grande Nueve.
Now, was that made in America?
Oh, I doubt it. Let's see. Bangladesh.
Oh, wow. Why don't we also, not instead of, but also make Bangladesh great again? Mabaga. Indeed. So today is another Quick Hits episode, and we each like to bring something to the table, this proverbial table. Could be a game, could be a comic, could be a video game, could be whatever. You know, Mike said, hey, I want to talk about new ways to masturbate. I said, you know what, that's a quick hit. That's a quick hit. He said, Australian grip. I'm like, I don't know what that is. That's a quick hit. Biran says, I've got some hentai I want to go over. I'm like, that's cool. That's a quick hit. Not enough for a full episode. It shouldn't be a full episode. You know, full episodes are for those games we just really love, like Dreadball, Overdrive, pardon me. And what am I thinking? Currently at 0 for Adepticon people.
No, it's up to 3, I believe.
It's up to 3. You're right. One of them is up to 3.
Right. One of the 18 is up to 3.
Here's a quick side note on Adepticon. Why the need for a bunch of events when you don't even know if you're going to fill up one? Like, just do one and make that one kick ass. Don't do 10, 10 versions, whatever.
Turns out they are not better than this.
No. Spoiler. We're going to do quick hits, bringing something to the table. Valdric is going to go first. He is the elder statesman. He's got a virtual biology background there. Looks like it's got,
That's a good looking background. I got to download it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It looks like, are those fossils back there, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember carols in the libraries? The little stuff that they had? They're like carols about the walls.
Who's Carol?
I don't know, but that's what they were called.
Yeah.
I just called mine librarian, whatever. Mike, what is your quick hit today?
Well, I'm keeping with the theme of miniature games, and it is Rain in Hell.
Ooh, is that Ash Barker's game?
No, it's
no, it's the other thumb ring, the Wisconsin.
Gamble Wolves is Ash Barker's game.
Oh, right, got it. Okay, I knew one of them made a Hell game.
Yes.
Ash Barker's Canadian thumb ring, Rain in Hell, Wisconsin thumb ring.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think they call him Rain in Hell at like holidays? You just called him Rain in Hell, like the guy. Like, hello, I'm Rain.
Friends call him Rain, so yeah.
Rain, yeah. So, Mike, you got that. Is that a real rule book or like a PDF? What is that?
Yeah, I have the real rule book because they on the website, if you pay them so much, you get the real rule book and the PDF. So, which is actually kind of nice because I have it on my computer at work and I can just look up stuff.
As we always say, it's nice to have something you can have and hold.
Oh yeah.
Well.
Yeah, I'm much more likely to read it if it's an actual book. Even a PDF is still kind of print out.
And that's coming from you, who you enjoy reading things on tablet. But when it comes to rules, something about cracking it.
Yeah.
I'm guessing miniature agnostic.
It is, and because he's got that whole video on the true meaning of miniature agnostic, and he's actually got a little paragraph in there on it. But that's actually the appeal of it for me. I'll be honest with you. I've only played. They actually have this only is a PDF, but it's a solo thing. I played it one or two games.
Is that called Oculus Sphere?
Well, yeah, it's a solo / cooperative campaign.
I wonder if that's on Urban Dictionary, the Oculus Sphere. It sounds like a thing.
Yeah. It's a dick in the eye. Yes.
It's got to be something. It's got eye in there. It's something.
Yeah. But the appeal of the game to me isn't so much the gameplay, although the gameplay is it's unique enough to be different. It's just because it is miniature agnostic, I like thinking about what miniatures I can use and going on Etsy, because that's where I get all the 3D prints, and finding some really cool stuff that you probably couldn't use anywhere else, but since you only need about 10 or 12 of them, it makes it worthwhile, and it's cheaper.
I noticed on Etsy there's a lot of really cool 3D printed like Chaos Cult dudes. Is that perfect for this game?
Yeah. So it's, again, the basic premise is there was this portal to Earth from hell, and that's how they would go, and demons would go and try to get souls and whatnot. Humans found out about it and shut it down, and that threw hell into chaos, literally. And now they're fighting. So it's all these demons just fighting for control of hell. And it's all hand to hand. None of this range combat stuff. It's all hand to hand. So
like chess.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no range combat in chess.
I play versions with guns.
Yeah. Loka has, but
So is this something like that disgruntled Games Workshop people are like, I have these demon armies, I'm going to play this game with these demon armies?
Yeah, because Adam was talking about that. He goes, because I've got some bloodletters because I think bloodletters are cool, but I'll never play bloodletters in whatever, in 40K, but you can use them for this. And so yeah, you do have
like big demon models like that are in this. It's not just small skirmish infantry guys.
Well, you have a leader, a right-hand man, and then your nugs. And so you can use whatever you want. So if you want to use a bloodletter, go ahead.
Or a great unclean one, or
yeah, or even like the old school ones, the smaller ones.
Yeah.
So because the modern one's probably too big because it plays on a 22 by 30 board.
Oh, because that's the kill team slash.
That's the kill team size. Yeah.
Smart.
So again, everything's hand to hand, so you want to have it be reasonably small. But
so what's the overall kind of style of it back and how does it work?
So you got your faction, and you have a number of D12s for initiative for the number of figures you have.
Oh, D12, the not off
D12. D12, yes.
So it's not dice agnostic, because I was going to use D13s.
You can do that too, yes. But that would actually be fun. But yeah,
it's one louder.
So how initiative works is, okay, so you got your initiative pool of all the D12s, and whoever has the highest number gets to activate one of their models. And so they spend that die to activate a model. So if you do really well, you can activate 3 or 4 models at a time. If there's a tie, whoever went last loses the tie. It's the tiebreaker. And there's a really kind of cool mechanic, because you know how you played a skirmish game, you're like, there's a guy with a heavy gun and then a guy with a knife, but the guy with the heavy gun's already gone. So it's smart to attack the guy with the knife because he hasn't gone yet. To hurt you. Right. In this game, if you kill a model, you lose an initiative die. So killing the weak one is always good, if whether he's activated or not. There's a mechanic.
Oh, I get. So basically, you don't have to play the game so much.
Exactly.
What, like in real life, it's like, wait, who hasn't gone yet?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. It's you kill the one that's close to you because it's the one that's close to you, and if you
you're in a sense losing a turn. By doing that.
Yeah. Okay. And so another kind of couple of neat things in there, like there's 3 different types of attacks. There's one where you could attack on the move, so it's kind of like you do a drive-by. So you can move your full move. You can move like half your movement, attack, and then keep moving. So
that's like a
lot of
blitz.
what?
A blitz.
A
somebody
blitz,
would
so to
call that.
speak. Yes.
You have to declare it before you start it.
Yes,
Yes.
got to declare.
And there is a campaign system in there, so the stuff can move up. And like whenever you kill a model, you get these things called soul dice. And there's a neat mechanic for that too, because you get to roll a d6, and whatever it turns up, you add that to your pile. And you can substitute that die for a combat roll for either your attack or your opponent's. So if you roll
here's your one, suck it.
Yeah, it doesn't suck because you could substitute somebody 6 who gives them a special crit or something for a 1.
Oh,
So-
That's cool. That's kind of like
and-
taking the like in 40K, they have the Sisters of Battle has the miracle
Fate,
dice.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you
Or
want
like
to keep
fate
the
die
low
for
ones.
the Zinchi guys.
You want, keep the low ones for your
Yeah.
morale rolls and the high ones for things. So then this one, take your low ones and fuck over your opponent.
That's a
Exactly.
scumbag die right there.
Exactly.
Yes, it's a soul die. You know, it's literally a piece of your soul, Biran. Usually, I'd have to wait till you make an excrement to get some of your soul, but this I can do it in the game. It's pretty cool.
That way, it's like if you're one of those guys, like you pull a classic Todd and you roll a lot of ones, they're still good.
Yeah. Yeah. For
Well, so
screw
I'm going to
you.
roll my classic black and red dice for the rolls I'm going to keep. And I'll find some other bullshit dice for
Yeah.
that will inevitably turn out. So with this one, Mike, is this something that, I mean, based on as you described, I know Ryan from your game group, he seems like he'd be all over this.
Yeah, Ryan actually has the rules. Hoagie has the rules.
Okay.
And he's actually picked up a few minis. So
So is this something that when you're looking at model count, you mentioned skirmish, but I mean, 30 or so aside, or is that too
no,
many?
like your faction can only have 10 models.
Oh, okay. So it is more in that Frostgrave,
Oh, yeah,
Stargrave. Okay, I was thinking a little bit larger, but okay.
No, yeah, you can have 10 total. So yeah, like I said, the appeal for me has just been, it's been a kind of a side thing, looking at cool models and saying, oh, that'd make a neat little madness demon or something like that. So
Now I
That's the
noticed
demonettes
the,
with tits, right?
what?
Demonettes with their tits exposed.
Yeah, because there's a faction called the Earthbound that are the succubi. So you definitely want those. So,
you actually though, you can only use the one with 6 tits.
yeah.
Right.
Like that's just in there, you know.
But they're all on one side.
Yeah.
right, the
Like
sacred
around.
number as well. Mike, I noticed the rule book is black and white. Do all the models have to be black
Yes.
That's good for Brian because he's colorful.
Yeah.
and white? I was thinking, like, wouldn't it be cool to paint up, like, not for me, somebody who does this thing, a Sin City-esque looking army where you do have black and white with some red blood thrown out.
Because
Kind of a cool-
anytime you mess up, you'll use blood for the blood god to cover
Yeah.
it.
Well, inevitably, though, I would say after each game, you have to add more blood to it. So then after 6 games, it's
It's just
just red on red, basically.
Well, like those black, white, and red comic series that they do, where it's just black and white with pops.
Yeah,
over
that's
it.
exactly, that's, we were talking
Yeah.
about that earlier today. That's, same
Yep.
kind of stuff. So are you going to give this a try soon, Mike?
If like I said, the solo campaign, once I get 2 factions painted up, I may try it, or I may try to demo it. Maybe one day with Ryan or something like that. So, but nothing. It's morely just something for me just to paint up and have some fun with.
Do you think
mentioned-
do you think it's mostly a one-off game, or do you think the campaign rules are enough to actually play a campaign?
It's hard to tell. I mean, most campaign rules are kind of frameworks. So there is a neat little mechanic, because those soul dice I was telling you about, you can use them in game, but if you keep them till the end of the game, they give you more ability to buy upgrades and new abilities for your.
Mm.
It's kind of cool, like
So-
kind of I've already lost this one. Why not save it for some shit later?
Yeah, kind of a thing. So I thought that was kind of cool too. Just a little themey,
Little twist.
I'd like to see, you know how, like you said, whatever they end up, that's what they are. Like you're using that result. I think you should have to leave them on the table. And like, no one can use that table until you have another game on there. Because that otherwise you're gonna fuck with the dice. You gotta leave it there. You gotta play it where it lies, essentially.
They could play on the table, but the dice have to stay there.
Well, the table can go, but the dice maybe have them
Yeah.
hang or something.
Yeah.
Mike, you mentioned all hand to hand. When it comes to using, people are always looking for ways to repurpose their 40K models. At this stage, I mean, is it like demons and like Poxwalker? I mean, is there really, can you use that kind of stuff in this,
you could use the demons and definitely use all the 40k demons. Poxwalkers maybe, but nothing with nothing with a gun or anything like that.
Well, I didn't think they had guns. I thought they were all like hammers and weird shit. So
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But it is very much a demonic fantasy theme.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's all demons. There's no humans, no nothing else. So, but anyways,
Sounds like a cool game.
yeah, it's fun.
It's Rain in Hell.
Rain in Hell.
Rain in Hell. All right. Well,
Not rain, but rain.
No, rain.
no, like rein them in.
Yeah.
I believe. It sounds like I don't want to, I know it's kind of early to talk about, Christmas gifts, but something for the whole family to enjoy.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mom would love the succubus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, because of the tits. Yeah. Exactly. All right. Anything else on this one, Mike?
No.
Okay. All right. Biran, can you top that?
Oh, I don't think I could top it.
Okay.
It's actually
You're bottomer?
painful.
Can you bottom it?
I got. So, part one of the story is I was cleaning out my closet, basement closet, because my
After you came out
cable,
of it. Yeah.
my cable went down, and it turns out I have a bad cable from my closet to the outside. So I had to clean out my closet, and I'm like, well, I should go through this stuff. So I found a bunch of Magic the Gathering cards, and it turns out about $2,000 of Grognar's store credit worth of Magic the Gathering cards.
Whoa.
So I went all in, and I bought. This is my fourth pack 432. And why would I get a storage thing? I play mainly skirmish games. I don't need all this storage.
Too much buildup.
I went all in on
Wow.
Dungeon Bowl.
What a fucking nerd.
I even bought elf teams.
You'll regret that, putting them together.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, I won't have to put them all together. I only need like a handful, depending on what team I do.
I think the Pro Elf plastic models, I think, are some of the best current GW ones. They're really good looking.
I'm actually excited for these guys, the kind of foppish guys,
Oh yeah, they're great.
because I put together a Heavens team. That as you know, if you Pachow watch our video on Dungeon Ball, it's colleges of Magic, and the Heavens team, I get to use the Lizardman team I got from JP, which is already painted and looks great.
Not
And
by
just
me.
add- And just add two of the fat guys from the FOP team. So I'll have almost a fully painted army right off the bat.
Army.
They're teams, not armies.
Oh, sorry.
So Liz in my
Brian's rage.
would you say Liz in my pants will live again?
Yes, they will. But no
Yes.
Croxagore, which is fine because the tail broke off.
Yeah, it broke off 12 times for me. So
Yeah. I got the goblins. So, and I also bought the halfling team because I thought I lost my Blitzbowl halfling team, which of course I found by cleaning out the closet more. But then I bought a fully painted halfling box off eBay. So I have 2.5 halfling teams.
wow.
You sound like a Blood Bowl player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is I painted these guys different.
Wait, 2.5 halfling teams.
Because the Blitzbowl.
No. So I'm just trying to do the math because they're half.
They're halfling. So it'd be 1.125.
Yeah.
1.25 halfling. 1.25.
As long as you get the one that looks like Gordon Ramsay on your team, you don't need
Yeah.
anybody else.
It totally does look like Gordon Ramsay. This is the one I'm very excited for because I love the flesh golems
Yeah.
and they can be used. I did find it troubling that there's no vampires in these teams because I have a extreme original painted vampire team.
I think it was a huge misstep. I know it's Games Workshop is in the make rules to fit the sprues
Yeah.
Yeah.
mode right now, but I think it's foolish. I mean, I know it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks because they're gonna do whatever they do, and we're gonna buy an overpriced Dungeon Bowl box set. It's clearly overpriced. But the idea to just leave off the teams of legends that everyone loves, like Chaos Dwarves, you know what I mean? Like, but I get it. It is what it is. I mean, theoretically, Biran, you could. I know it does make you a bit of that guy, but you could use the vampires and do the old this counts as
Yeah.
that.
Well, my goal is to only play Dungeon Bowl against the people on this podcast.
So
I think
Well, we
if I
could
made
just-
it If I made a School of Vampires team, you guys would let me play it.
I will say, I mean, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I don't see you going to Grognard and being like, when's your Dungeon Bowl night? Like, there isn't one.
Get out of here.
Right, get out of here, nerd. Yeah, whenever Mike shows up is the answer.
Yeah. But I actually really enjoyed the game against Mike, and I think Dungeon Bowl caters to my sensibilities better than Blood Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Because you sometimes have to do the dumb thing. Sometimes the dumb thing is the smart thing to do. And I like that.
Well, it's I think it's a great word is the opposite of Blood Bowl, like whatever the great sort of like if you've been burned enough in playing Blood Bowl where everything comes down to one roll, you just have these moments where like fuck this game. You play Dungeon Bowl and you're like, oh, this actually can be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
You have the portals, you have the chest, you don't know where you're going to end up, you don't know where the ball is. You have your mixed race teams. Essentially, it's like all the fun stuff that Blood Bowl could have in your head and the fluff in the actual game.
Because it like competitive Blood Bowl seems to have been broken down to a science at this point, where this is what you do. If this, then this. If this,
it's
then
to the
this.
point where it's like if you, let's say you're up 1-0 and you've got like you're stalling by the end zone, you got the dude all protected, and everyone else is like stunned or down with enough squares away. It's like your opponent already says good game, either in person or online. So it is in that Blood Bowl is in that stage of like, I've already lost. Congrats, sir.
Yes.
Dungeon Bowl is not going to be like that. It's going to be any fucking thing could happen.
Yeah.
And I am curious to see how, I don't think it'll be so much an issue in Winter Wizards Bowl, but the Adepticon Dungeon Bowl, I am curious to see if people plug that hallway.
Well, Mike, let's talk about it real quick. Are you going to set up those dungeons?
Yeah. So I was going to be playing around with some of that, see if maybe we can, but you're supposed to always only have a door. So theoretically, you could still plug the door whenever two tiles meet. You're supposed to have a doorway. So I don't know.
But the doorway doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it does. If
What
you
is
have,
it?
Yeah.
because if you have like a 4x4 next to a 4x4 block, the doorway is the only way you can go from one to the other. The other on either side is supposed to be just walls.
Oh, I only put 4 next to 2. And that my assumption was just wherever the 2 meets the 4 is the doorway.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a couple of the setups in the book that actually have 2 4x4s next to one another with the door there. And we had that, Brian, too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see like you put a couple big guys or like tree men right there in that final hallway.
Yeah.
You're not getting through that.
I just don't understand why you have to make a final hallway. Why don't you just have the one before the end zone tile before and make sure a portal is in that spot so everyone's covered?
Yeah. I mean, you're breaking it because you're not supposed to have a portal in the end zone or
No, not in the end zone. So end zone and then a 4x4 generic and put the portal in that 4x4 generic right next to the end zone.
In the rules, it says you can't do that. The portal can't be in the end zone tile or the tile touching the end zone.
Oh, I must have missed that. I thought it only said end zone. Okay.
Yeah.
But that'd be an interesting fix though.
Yeah,
it is your turn. Mike, you can do whatever you want. It's your turn.
Yeah, I know. It's dodgeable. You can put vampires in there. I think putting a portal in the end zone sounds pretty awesome, to be honest with you.
Or even if it's right adjacent to it, that's still you still got a shot. And even on both sides, like I got to get back there to stop them.
Yeah.
If you're playing multiple score, are you doing multiple scores or first to score?
First to score. Or if that was our game, but I don't know in the tournament.
Oh, the tournament first to score. Hell yeah.
Okay. If you were doing multiple, like most scores in 2 hours, I think one in the end zone would be hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like, it does suck, but hey, it's just one.
You got a 1 in 6 chance of dying and a 1 in 6 chance of scoring. So
that would be hilarious. Like you find the ball right away, portal right into the end zone. Game over.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So Biran, in your newfound love for, I'm going to use the full word, Blood Bowl variant, Dungeon Bowl. It's your newfound love for this. What made you decide to not only dip a toe in, but dip your entire ball sack in?
Like I said at the beginning, $2,000 in store credit. It made it seem like it was almost free.
It was.
And I believe in Mike's demo, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was. I've enjoyed every game I've played.
Yeah.
And 2 of those games were against Katie, and those are always stressful games. And both of those were fun.
Did she have fun though?
Yeah, she did.
Okay, good.
And even in the second game that she lost, it was a close game. It was back and forth a lot. And
Okay.
And the game's
Biran-
changed a lot because, as we found, when you discover the ball early, that's a whole different type of game than when you discover it late.
yeah, it is.
Biran, so selling off a Magic collection to play Blood Bowl, longtime Blood Bowl fanatic Gallic Tom Anders, who Impact Miniatures, does anyone know Xtreme? Was that Tom's way to get into Blood Bowl?
That was his way to get crazy into Blood Bowl, yes.
Oh no!
So, it's slippery slope, my friend.
I'm gonna be start putting out shitty resin. Oh shit! I also bought some
No.
shit from Tom Anders.
I'm talking about you are gonna like have every team. You're gonna start your own company. It can,
You're gonna have a
because to
museum.
you,
Yeah,
right now, Biran, it's like you're playing with house money.
yeah.
You
Like
didn't
crack.
invest any of
First
your-
one's free.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you have any more store credit left, or did you burn through
Oh,
it
no,
all?
I have a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, all this.
Uh,
That's the other thing is like a team is what, $40,
Yeah.
and I already had a couple teams already, like full teams, because I bought them because I wanted to play them at Blitz Bowl.
Right. Are you going to play in that tournament? The winter? No.
I'll be there though.
Okay.
Just
I
come to
gave
the
it
end.
my-
That's when the Dungeon Bowl starts. So.
Yeah.
Well, Biran, I'm happy to see that you jumped into that and having
And
fun
I'm
with
going to
it.
be lending my box of stuff to Mike for Adepticon, so there's
Yeah.
extra chests and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think Adepticon has enough money to supply those for you.
I got 2 from them last weekend. So
Okay.
and well,
Very
you
good.
know, they've got pull. Hank says send me 6 boxes. They may send him 6 boxes. So
That's true. They don't have to buy them.
no.
What I found funny was people were like, they're just trying to get us to buy more teams. I'm like, how many teams do you have? 30?
Yeah.
You don't have to buy shit.
And to me, it's not even about, it's more of a, it is expensive for what it is, but I still did it because I wanted to play it. If it's a game you're going to have fun with, then get it. And who cares? If
Yeah.
it's not, then why bitch about it? Like it's a fun game. It's a fun way to play.
I also bought the first supplement that came out that has the 7s rules in it,
Yeah. That sound.
because I bought everything because that's me. Because I
You
think
made-
I would also maybe enjoy 7s more too.
Yeah, when I went back to Grognard's, I think it was last May, I bought a bunch of new Blood Bowl stuff. I think you made fun of me for it, but now you bought all of that. So
Oh, I'm a hypocrite, big time.
yeah, it's different now.
I would predict that you would enjoy 7s more than Blood Bowl, but less than Dungeon Bowl.
I think you're probably right. I
Yeah.
think you're probably right.
That's not a bold prediction, Extreme. That's pretty
It's
obvious.
not.
Okay. Do you have any other predictions that are a little
It's
more fun
probably
to
gonna be
listen to?
cold here tomorrow.
Okay. Chili today, hot tamale.
Shy tacos.
Yeah, burritos or shy tacos. All right, Biran. Well, I look forward to hearing your adventures in the dungeon.
Mhm.
Extreme, you want to go?
All right, I'm gonna take this to say goodbye.
All right, bye,
Okay.
Mike. I'll
Bye,
see you
Mike.
tomorrow.
We'll see ya.
So I'm going to go with some recent comic book reading. I finished the Muppets Omnibus. It is a small omni, but it says omnibus, so it still counts.
Still looks good. Lined up with others on a shelf.
So this was really cool. You could tell that the guy that wrote it did all, I think he did his art too. Pretty sure he did everything on it. Was a huge Muppets fan, and like there's multiple mini series that were all put together in this. That he did all of them. But it was very much like reading an episode of the Muppet Show. You know, there was stuff going on outside of the show, but then they were still putting it on the show. Ends with a big closing number. It was really cool. I really loved it because I'm a big Muppet Show fan. But then there's like one mini series where they had to go on the road because there was a disaster at the place they normally put the show on and the studio, and it was all under renovation. So they did like a road show thing. It's kind of goofy and weird, but overall it's super awesome. I mean, there's like all the normal skits from the Muppet Show. So like they have the Swedish Chef skit, and it was all like gurgly garbage, but you could read it. Yeah, you could read just enough to know what was going on with it.
I don't think that guy is appropriate now, though.
Probably
No,
not.
well, Swedish? Yeah, I gotta be
Yeah.
careful.
Because of what he's really saying. Is that why? Because if you really like use translate, you know what he's really saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That he hates the Ethiopian immigrants that have flooded his country. Yeah.
Well,
But then
he's
you
not-
have the other side of it, though. You have Sam the Eagle. Is he appropriate now? Or
Yeah, he's a little too patriotic.
yeah,
That's true. Good point. Xtreme. We in the old Zlurpcast, we used to have the Waldorf and Statler, right?
yes, they play a pretty prominent role in this, and they're my favorite characters. So I thought about that old Zlurpcast closing quite a bit. They actually had a very similar exchange in this. I almost took a picture of and put in our chat.
Wow. Did they say "what up, Shun" to each other?
No, that would have been great.
So in this Muppets book, it says very much like the show. So is each issue its own episode?
Yeah, so for almost all of them, like when they did the roadshow thing, they kind of got away from that a little bit. But all the other issues, like each issue would have been like one episode of the Muppet Show. So there's the background story that's kind of carrying over through everything, but then in each one they're putting together a new show. So it's pretty cool. It felt very much like if we were going to do like a continuation of the Muppet Show today, this would be it. The one thing that it didn't have celebrities, because
Right.
you don't really need them in a
Not gonna
comic
pay.
format.
And you're not
They
gonna
did
pay
have
them.
like some fictional celebrities they put in, a couple of them, but then they kind of stopped doing that, which is fine. I always thought that was kind of the weakest part of the Muppet Show anyway.
Did
Well,
they
it's
bring
kinda
any
like
social justice themes into it?
No, none at all.
Hmm.
That I noticed anyway. Maybe there was, but I didn't notice any.
Well, it's kind of like a host on Saturday Night Live. That's the least important thing. You're
Yeah.
watching the Muppet Show to see the players of the Muppets. They were all there, like the ones we know and love, or anyone mysteriously not in there.
They were all there. Then there were a couple of Muppets that came later, like Skeeter's sister was in there, which I think, or Scooter's sister, Skeeter.
Scooter and Skeeter are brother and sister, though, correct?
Right. But I don't remember Skeeter ever being in the Muppet Show, but she was in this book.
Oh,
Maybe she was in the Muppet Show.
Muppet Babies. She was in.
Yes. So maybe that's where she was introduced.
Which was
Because she
also
was
a
in some
pretty
of the
good show
movies,
back in
too.
the day.
I loved that's I was like so great because they actually talked about like current things going on, like Indiana Jones movies and stuff, and they're incorporating that into the show. Very cool. Did they get into any Gonzo origin story?
I mean, there were some Gonzo stories, no origin stories though.
Because like, what is he? Right? What is he?
There was a whole issue with that because the insurance adjuster came around and was like taking stock of everything and had to interview Gonzo. It was like, so what are you though? We have to
Was it
fill out
like
this
a
form.
fill out this form? Male, female? Are you whites? Pacific Islander? What are you? And he's like, I'm weird.
So
Pretty much,
that's
yeah,
an ongoing
you got the
joke.
whole
Is
thing.
no one knows what Gonzo is.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I just was wondering if they actually got to the bottom of this once and for all. Like,
No,
find out
I
what
don't-
bathroom he uses. You know what I mean?
Well, that's kind of a more modern thing too, I think.
Well, yeah, because that wouldn't tell you anything nowadays, would it?
No, well, I think Gonzo, I think the character himself is fluid now,
I'm Gonzo fluid.
Now,
but whatever.
just so I'm clear, because I don't know everything current, Biran's more up on things than I am with this. Does that mean Gonzo will fuck everyone? Or?
I don't know. I mean, he's a weirdo. So, I mean, he's going
Would
after
he
chickens
be-
a lot.
Would
That
Gonzo
knows.
be that guy of the Muppets universe?
Oh, no question.
Um,
Here's the thing, though. Like that guy in our gamer archetypes, I don't want to hang out with. But Gonzo seems like I'd want to hang out with him.
Yeah.
Gonzo,
Gonzo is like,
Fozzie, probably. Here's a fun one to do real quick. We don't have Mike here, unfortunately. Of the Muppets, who are we? Think
Now we're
about
still
it.
just Muppets, not Jim Henson as a whole, right?
What do you mean as a whole?
Like the entire Muppet
Sesame's
library.
Oh no, I would say the Muppet universe only.
Just the Muppets though, not the
Sorry, just the Muppet Show or Muppet Babies, I guess, but not other creations of Jim Henson.
I would say that I want to be Waldorf, but I'm probably closer to Kermit.
You are probably Kermit. Because Kermit's pretty like, kind of even keel, you know what I mean?
He's the
like,
default.
He has,
He's the
yeah,
default
he's like
Muppet.
the default setting. But it's not bad. But here's the thing though, the stories revolve around Kermit's. So it's not a bad thing to be Kermit.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. I stand by my statement. I want to be Waldorf, but I'm probably Kermit.
But why you don't want to be Waldorf because he's kind of a prick.
Well, maybe I kind of want to be that way. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I don't think you want. I don't think you are. I think it's just you want. Kermit seems boring, but he is the star of the show. Is he still the star of the comic?
Well, not necessarily. He's like the boss. He's the director of putting everything together. So,
Like you with this show.
no, it's that guy's job.
Well, Biran said we're doing gamer ADD. You go KwikHitz.
Okay.
Like, you overruled him earlier today. It literally happened.
He's the man behind the curtain in Oz.
Yeah.
So I have that Omni right there.
Oh, very nice.
I
think Mike is Benson.
The Black Butler?
No, Bunsen. Is it Benson or Bunsen? Is it Bunsen?
Yeah.
Okay. Like Bunsen burner.
It's Beaker.
Beaker.
No.
Beaker.
Beaker just goes meep all the time.
Okay, so it's Bunsen.
Nobody wants to be Beaker. Beaker's that guy, actually. Nobody wants to be fucking Beaker. He's like their Screech, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bunsen, Biran, probably Fozzie.
Waka waka.
Or I mean, I don't know. It's a hard one to say.
Sweetums.
Which one?
Sweetums.
Which one's Sweetums? I need a reminder. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm cool with that.
I mean, he doesn't have a big role, but he's fun when he gets on.
Yeah, Biran doesn't have a big role either. He just makes the show happen. No big deal. I think every group wishes they had a Rolf, and they don't.
Yeah.
Like Rolf is kind of wise beyond his years.
Rolfs are rare.
Yeah, Rolfs are very rare. Rolfs are rare. Xtreme, when you're talking about a Muppets book, I know you're a fan, but is this something that is for kids or for adults or for both? It doesn't matter.
I think it's a lot like the Muppet Show. Like kids can enjoy it, but there's a lot of stuff going on there that only adults are picking up on.
That goes over the kids' heads and hits the adult right in the eyeballs.
Yep.
Like for fun fact, the first, and I don't want to say might be only, I know for sure, my first drive-in movie was Muppets Take Manhattan. And my family was a big Muppets fan, even though, I'm at one age, my siblings are 10 years older, my parents are old. It's kind of jokes for everybody. And the comic is the same thing.
Yep. Yeah, the comics felt like it felt like it was exactly like the Muppet Show. It was definitely a labor of love.
Okay. A labor of love, if you will.
So after I finished reading that, I started reading another omnibus that kind of has a similar theme. It's just the dust jacket because the actual book's in there. But Batman 66.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that on there. Kyle Bam.
Yep.
So very similar. You could definitely tell that Jeff Parker wrote this one, but every issue feels like an episode of Batman 66. It's great. The big difference is now you have a bigger rogues gallery to choose from than they did in 66. So you have newer villains to introduce and stuff, but it's I'm like halfway through it and it's awesome.
Did they make the characters look like TV show?
Yeah, the artwork looks like Adam West body. It's not super chiseled. It doesn't have nipples on the costume or anything. So everything looks like
Adam West. I mean, he did have nipples. I just want to make that clear.
But
yeah,
did, yes.
We're not going to get flagged for misinformation. Adam West, in fact, did have nipples.
Adam West did have nipples.
That is true. But yeah, Joker looks like Cesar Romero.
But
Yeah.
does it? Can you see his mustache through the dye in the art?
It's suggested. There's some.
Yeah, but Biran, at that time, TVs weren't good enough quality to notice such.
Well, I remember
things.
because there was a story about he refused to shave his mustache for the role.
I believe Adam West refused to shave downstairs as well for the same reason.
Robin
want to
had-
Right. Well, yeah, he didn't want to show like the tights and everything. Like kind of.
Well, because he didn't have to wear Robin's outfit. He'd have hairs coming out that you could see.
I think, yeah, I think maybe he got waxed.
Yeah.
In the safe side. So Xtreme, there's a lot of these that are kind of popular right now with taking an era, especially on the DC side with Superman 78,
Batman 89,
which I read that one, enjoyed that one. This is something that I think that to me, the goal, maybe I just me, but the goal seems like a great way to capture a mainstream audience into comics, because Marvel, for example, has done an amazing job with the last 25 movies, almost all hits, a couple of misses, but people said, I want to know more. I want to get into comics. DC has not had the same success in that as of late. Do you think these books are sort of trying to get normies into things?
They could be. I think the big challenge there is finding those normies and getting them the knowledge of, hey, this exists. Because if you were a fan of Batman 66 or even Batman 89, like how are you going to find out that these?
You're only going to see in a comic shop because they don't do newsstand anymore.
Oh, that's true. So you kind of have to know something anyway, even to know about it.
But if someone told you it was out or gave it to you as a gift, maybe that could be a gateway into other stuff. But finding out about it, I think, would be the big trick.
And you go to a place like Barnes and Noble, and it's just trade paperbacks with, they're super narrow, and it's like, what is this one? I don't know.
Yeah. And then Biran, am I right? Full price? No thanks, Barnes.
I will go 40% off on cheap graphic novels. Link in the description below.
If I'm going to pay full price, I'd rather do it at a comic store, not at Barnes.
Right. If I'm ordering, I'm not going to Barnes and Noble for that shit.
Yeah. I was attracted to this Omni. I never had read any of the issues, so I took a leap and just went straight to the Omni on it. But I was pretty sure I was going to like it. And it collected a whole run outside of they had a bunch of like Batman meets Archie, Batman meets, I think, the $1 Million Man, like a bunch of stuff like that. So none of those are included, but the main title run is all included in Omni. So it's like a start to finish, done type deal.
I imagine they'd have to pay licensing costs for those meets ones. Yeah.
So they have separate hardcovers for all those. So they're like trade paperback sized hardcovers, which I don't know if I'm even going to bother getting them, but we'll see.
Is it once you go Omni, how do you go back?
Well, I don't know how interested I am in the whole.
And also spending like $20,
people.
$30 for 6 issues on a hardcover. No thanks.
Yeah. So, very cool. Is this one done?
This one is done. Yes. So
Okay.
one Omni, and you get the main line 1 through 30, and then the last episode.
Okay. I was thinking when I heard about Batman 89, like kind of this was talked about as well. So I don't think it was still in print or in production, I will say. Very cool. And that one's a lot of issues in that?
30.
Yeah, 31.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
it's a good size Omni.
And I'm assuming you opened it correctly.
I did. Yes. Took my time with it.
Relax the spine.
Relaxed it. Cracked it.
Yeah.
Got my good
Eye.
eye. I always call it a window. Eye.
Okay. Some people care about such things, It's it'll help
Mine
you.
was damaged in shipping, so the whole bottom has a nice crease through the actual book too.
Yeah,
just
I have
dropped it in the corner.
I got a handful of hardcovers that are just beat the shit from the corners, but what are you gonna do?
Yep.
So, all right. Anything else on this one?
No, I just reading those back to back, and they had similar themes. I thought I'd share that.
Okay. Do you think, last thing on this one, do you think you'll move on to other ones, like, other movie, TV adaptation, like I mentioned earlier, like Superman 78, for example?
maybe eventually, but right now, after reading these two in a row, I'm ready to get back into some more serious stuff for a little bit. So I definitely want to take a break from that, but maybe eventually I'll swing back around to getting some of the other.
Why wasn't this serious?
titles.
This isn't serious. It's business here.
I mean,
Camp.
the Muppet Show and Batman '66, they're both humor and campiness.
I bet
Which is
you,
good. I
especially in
love
the
them,
Muppets,
but-
in the Muppets book, I bet you Kermit dealt with some shit.
I think he
I bet
had
he did.
some drug issues behind the scenes.
Yeah, I can see Kermit getting into some shit.
Yeah.
Very cool. Over to me. I will, since I was not prepared, none of us were for quick hits. When are we ever? That's why we have to, on this show, we have to pull a quick hit, singular, out of our butt whenever we need to. I'm going to probably talk about Saga, a comic I got into recently because I finished up the last
Topical.
volume.
Very
It
topical.
is top. Yeah, well, we do quick hits. You were overruled. I was ready to do gamer ad. Saga is a Image produced comic, and it is Brian K. Vaughan is the author, and Fiona Staples is the artist. And he had this idea, Brian K. Vaughan, years ago in school, much like a young Jonny P in Death Path. And he kind of had a world in his head that was a Star Wars, he joked, Star Wars for perverts kind of world in his head. But this idea of a planet with one group of people and then a moon that circles that planet with another group, and they hate each other and they're constantly at war, and other planets and things are having to take sides. And so I'd imagine as a kid, obviously not fleshing out the idea, but then as time went on, and he did, Why the Last Man way back when, a few other creator owned ones, but he's also done a lot of, existing properties. And he basically said in the early 2010s, I want to start getting more into the, I own it. I'd rather sell 1,000 copies of the thing I own than, just, be a writer on a Batman series or something. So basically putting this together, he wanted to find an artist that kind of captured what he was looking for. And the overall story of this one is the main planet called Landfall. It has people that live there that they all have wings. That's their thing. It's just what they look like. And the moon that is closest to them is called a wreath, like a Christmas wreath. And they all have horns. And so there is kind of that built in angel and demon, but it's not really that. It's more of just a kind of, I don't know. I mean, maybe one day that'll kind of come to that, but it's not really like that. If anything, it's the reverse, because it seems like the people on Landfall are way shittier than the people on Wreath. But basically, they have been at war forever. And when they're not at war, other planets and people are taking sides for this as well. Like, oh, you support the wings, over on land. You support that, or you support the moonies on that moon with the horns. And so they don't like each other at all. And the basic story is there is a soldier from Landfall and one from Wreath, and the girl at Landfall is guarding this captured prisoner of war, and they fall for each other and make a baby. And now this baby is like, oh crap, this is a problem because you can't have this. So there's people that want this child dead. There's people that want to capture them and ransom. There's bounty hunters involved. It very much is like a Star Wars. I know it's if you look up Saga online, that's all you ever see, but it is the best way to describe it because it is a completely sci-fi meets fantasy type world. In fact, I would say even more so. It's probably the people on Wreath are actually I joked in my head, when I was reading it, trying to get my head around everything. It's almost like, when we talk about games and you have Age of Sigmar and 40K, and one planet is very fantasy, one planet is very sci-fi. They exist kind of together there, but it does have that world building kind of thing on it. So when you start reading Saga, it is kind of slow, even though it's funny and keeps you into things, and there's not a ton of dialogue. There's a lot of visuals, very cinematic. But it does start off with that, man, there's a lot to learn. Who are they again? Wait, what are those people? Whose side are they on? But I'd say by about like 6 issues in, like, you're kind of hooked, and you realize like, yeah, I'm going to zip through these, no problem. Throughout the entire story, the baby, her name is Hazel, you are reading the story from her eyes. So on any given page, there'll be typical dialogue and action going on, and then in different font, kind of just written is, that's my mom and dad. Let me tell you about them. And it's like, so guiding you throughout the story is Hazel as an adult talking. We don't know right now how old she even is, because we don't know when the story just is still in the process of it. But she is an adult telling this story that you read. So it starts off with her being born, and by the time the 3 volumes that are out now are up, it's 54 issues that are out now. She's like 12-ish, maybe even less. I'd say maybe like 10 in the story. And as they're pretty much on the run the whole time. This family's on the run because everybody does not want them around. So do we find a place to hide out? Do we stay on the run? Do we try to give this girl a normal life to grow up? But her life's never going to be normal. And so you meet all these creatures and different species and different planets. There is definitely adult topics. There's a lot of sex, a lot of violence. Biran, you'd appreciate some social commentary here and there sprinkled throughout.
Isn't there an abortion planet?
There is actually, yeah. And that's what goes on there. It's not just a clever name. It is very much, you might think at times, Biran, there's maybe too much of it, but I actually don't think. I think that they just happen to come across it because by nature of planets at war, like countries at war, and racism among species, and amongst who's gay, who's not, and so there's the homophobia in there. There's just the things that you see on a day-to-day basis, but they tackle them in an aliens, I guess, setting, you can say. So you're going to come across it throughout the comic. But here's the funny thing: I recently got into it, and I'm thankful I got into it now, because the people who actually really got into Saga in the past have been with it from, I don't know, 2012 to 2018. They are now, like, new issues are out on Wednesday from recording. If you're watching this when it came out, it just came out a few days ago, issue 55. So I'm thankful that I can read it and get into it fresh, but I can only imagine the people that actually read it and finished in 2018 that have sat for 3.5 years waiting for a new issue.
The big volumes that are out now, are they oversized?
Yes.
Yeah, they are. They're not like as oversized as Black
Hammer, but they are. But I think they are oversized hardcovers, right?
Yeah. So when so Heather and I were at the comic store a few months ago, and she saw Saga 1 through 3 in one giant soft cover, glue binding, and she grabbed it. I said, "Don't get that." It was like was 40K or at Grognard Biran, like, don't buy that.
Yeah, Gary Frank.
I didn't want to say the name.
He's not watching.
I'm like, put that down. You're like, why? I want to read it. I go, no, get these. Now, it's more expensive that way, but it's 3 hardcovers about 1.5 inches thick. It is a much better way to read it. I'm going to buy the issues as they come out. The new issue that's coming out on Wednesday, I believe it's a double size, 44 pages. It's like, well, I guess if you've been waiting 3 years, it's you want a little more than the usual. But for me, it's like, I'm happy to take anything. They left it on a huge cliffhanger. I will tell you, when you're cracking it, to open it properly, if you guys are getting into it, be very, very careful what you see. It's a very visual, I mean, it sounds stupid to say, but more than other comics, it's very visual. The cliffhangers and spoilers happen throughout are very like, last page of an issue is like every time there's like a thing. It's like a Game of Thrones, like it always ends on a thing.
Black Hammer was like that too, where
you're right. Black Hammer did have some of that. Yeah.
There's so much going on in one picture where if you open in the wrong spot, you're going to get spoiled something. You know.
Totally. I thought I actually got it.
I've heard of
when I
people
was
doing it upside down to try to avoid that too.
I can see that. I was really just doing it.
I just take my contacts out and do it.
There you go. I mean, there was one point where I actually thought I saw a spoiler, and it was like it was like part of a thing, not the thing. So even when I thought, but there are a few, like it really does end of the third volume, it ends on a huge one. So like Heather read it first and she's like, I want to make sure you finish that. And I was like, oh wow, like I'm glad I get to get the new one in a week, because if people had to sit, it is very, I think they talked about being like Game of Thrones in that regard. I mean, could you imagine, like when Game of Thrones got popular, people were into it in season 3. But people, not everybody watched it season 1. So it is very much when you get into this, you have the luxury of not having to wait on a cliffhanger forever. So, anyway, it's something pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. It's they're not going to make a TV show out of it. They're not going to make it into a movie. Brian K. Vaughan said, I'm not doing any of that. I want to just have this in comic form. I want to do it this way because, he knows that much like anything, even, on the same Game of Thrones subject, the first season of Game of Thrones did not have the same budget as the 6th season of Game of Thrones, which is why you didn't see a big battle. You saw Tyrion in the ground, like, what did I miss? And that was, well, we can't afford to do a battle. It'd be hard to make this with
It would be expensive
budget.
for sure.
Yeah. It just, you couldn't do it. So without being cheesy, like it would end up looking like the CW show, if you really, like if you had to make it. So no, it's great. It's a very quick one. Like you could probably knock out one book in, depending on how fast you read. I usually did it in about like 3 days, 4 days reading.
So
like
it's kind of
hour.
like Black Hammer, where there's not a lot of dialogue, just a lot of visuals.
Not a lot of visuals. The dialogue is it's funny. I mean, there's jokes throughout it. Like I said, it's violent too. A lot of sex talk. It's very much for adults, not for kids. So it is. He said in an interview, it's Star Wars for perverts, and it's like, yeah, I guess it's not really that perverted. It's just a lot of
Yeah, that might get my hopes up. I'm like, what? This is so tame.
Yeah, right. I mean, I sent you screenshots of funny things, but it's a lot of just, it's like, if you're on the run and you're going to encounter all these different creatures and species and planets, and then whatever shit you got into. So it kind of, in a weird way, it lends itself to a TV show format, like Monster of the Week in a sense, because you're at like a different setting all the time. But yeah, it's pretty great. So if you're interested, check out the 3 volumes. They're in hardcover. I don't think they're maybe $30, $35 each, maybe. I don't remember offhand. They're not really expensive. Well worth getting the 3 hardcovers and not the big glued one that's probably going to fall.
Look good on a shelf, would you say?
It's going to look good on a shelf, yeah, definitely. And I'm still going to buy the comics of the new one and eventually buy the other hardcovers as well. So check out Saga from Impact. Great story. Anything else? This is the Zlurpcast. We lost Mike. Where did he go? Do you have to go home?
Yeah, he had to catch the train.
Okay. Because what would happen if he didn't? He'd be stuck.
Or he gets stuck on a local where he's stopping at every stop. Maybe it was 5-3 was express.
Obviously Mike does the train daily, but I always think about like when I was younger going to Cubs games, and it was on the Metro, you either have 1040 you got to get on, because if you don't make that 1040, 1240 is the next one. And you don't want to be around at 1240. You want to be out of there. Yeah, that's it. Biran, anything from you?
No.
Okay. Stay tuned for an upcoming Gamer ADD episode, maybe an Adepticon preview episode. We're going to be also talking with Duncan Holman as well soon, who is the creator of the Xtreme Blitz token, available at Charlie Victor Products website. We'll be talking about the process, which I think I like coins. They're fun. It'll be fun to talk about that one. Check out Zlurpcast on social media and subscribe on YouTube. Check out all the old episodes. If you're an old school fan, you might appreciate every now and then we dip into the archives. They were saying release the Snyder Cut. Many people for us are saying release the old stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to release the old stuff. Over time, as filler, because the filler ends up being the show. But we'll see. That's about it. Bye-bye.
Zlurpcast! Brought to you by Nuffles. Bet you can't just roll a one.